You've never set up your own record label, have you?
Record labels are not something that really interests me. I mean, setting up a record label is easy enough to do, and just a piece of paper, really. But what you have to do if you want to make records and have them distributed in the major territories is you have to have a deal with a record company. And setting up a record label is okay, but are you gonna pay for marketing guys, promotion guys, secretaries? If you set up something that is actually a bona fide record label operating, and you're the only artist, well, you don't have a very efficient system at work there if you're the only artist.
So you've had a satisfactory relationship with Chrysalis, of course, before, and now.
Yeah, well, I'm working with I guess with with Eagle for a product that's video related, with an American record company, Fuel 2000, who deal with the audio product in the US. With EMI Records, who have a lot of all the old catalog from Jethro Tull, because they bought Chrysalis Records, and then in Europe through licensees who have our product. There are 2 or 3 record companies involved, and sub-licensees in small countries. So effectively, there's a huge network of people involved in getting a record into the public domain, and you can't do that just by setting up your little record label and you're it doesn't work that way. I mean, people think it does, and just as they think they can sell their records over the internet. Well, the answer is, of course you can. But unless you put together the machinery of online trading, which is the equivalent of Amazon.com, you're simply not going to be able to do it cost effectively. And if you represent maybe 10 or 20 artists, it might start to have some synergies there in terms of setting up, e-commerce trading. But the guys that, I know this because, believe me, I've been in and out of what e-commerce means, both for records and other forms of merchandise. It's not really possible to get to, let alone undercut, the prices that you would get at Amazon. And Amazon do the job a whole lot better than I would ever be able to do it selling records online. If people can get over the resistance to purchasing online, and I would think that for most people, most of the time, once they've gone to Amazon.com and bought a record, they will think, hey, this is kind of easy. This, it's all very well selling a record at $9.99, but there's not a lot of margin of profit there for the distribution and sales entity. It's very, very tight. But Amazon can do it because of the enormity of their enterprise. But on top of that, you've got to have product delivered to your door. But I would still argue that there is no such thing as a $9.99 record anywhere in any retail sector, because you've got to get there. You've got to park the car. You add on the real costs of going and buying a record in the retail sector in the store. It's not cheap. If you go to a concert, there's no such thing as a $35 concert ticket. You've still got to drive there, park the car, pay the gasoline, the insurance, and then there are probably some hidden extras on top of the ticket price, like the whole restoration. It's a whole bunch of extra costs involved in all of this. Right. It's so they are not hidden, but they're not usually taken into account. Now, I would argue right now that you're given that you can get a record delivered to your door in most parts of the USA in 24 or 48 hours, that it's a pretty cheap way to buy records. And I can tell you that I couldn't match Amazon.com prices if I was doing e-commerce of our catalog on sales, online via our website. I would not be able to match the prices of most of the product. Some of it we probably could, depending, because all the product has different starting prices when you negotiate that with the manufacturers, who are effectively the record companies involved, and buy at a discounted dealer rate. It's all very interesting, e-commerce, but the reality is, like any other business, you've got to have the economy of scale. There is a scale at which it will begin to make sense, but not if you're just a one-man band. If you're trying to sell your CDs online from your little website, and you're some strummer who plays coffee bars and the occasional Borders or whatever, you're going to sell 1,000 records, 2,000 records, and the margins may be high on the face of it, but the total income level is not exactly going to add to your tax bill very much at the end of it. So you won't make a living out of doing this, what I'm getting at.
And even Amazon has taken a great deal of time to get into anywhere near profitability. They're still, it took them years.
Absolutely, and there are many brave futuristic ventures out there. I mean, Amazon have to be congratulated on staying the course and doing what they're doing and still just scraping the sort of break-even kind of thing together. But out there in Washington, there is XM Radio, who bill themselves as the future of radio, and it's a great and brave venture, you know, through satellite in your car primarily. But you know, they've only just got to their 1 million subscribers. They probably need 2 million to break even in that operation, and they've already had to be refinanced. It's a seriously brave thing to do, to go down that route. And once you've started, sometimes the scale of debt is so enormous, you actually can't stop. You have to go on. And yeah, to pull the plug is that there are essentially no assets there. You know, big shiny building in the wrong part of town. When it comes to XM Radio, there's not a piece of real estate that's going to be very easy to sell if they go down the hole.